What we're doing out here today is we're looking at grass control in a grass crop. You know, a lot of times we want to think that herbicides are almost magic because some of them work so well and we've come so far since they started first developing them in the 40s. But the problem we still have is how do we control a grass in a grass? And we have it a lot. And this is a good example. You can look down there on the end where it's not mowed. You see that big tall patch of grass there? Well, that's all invasive grass. Invasive grass is essentially this stuff we have right here. Okay? You see this stuff a lot, particularly when you're in wet areas like this pasture here. Invasive grass grows up tall, gets about shoulder high on you. We see it on roadsides, we see it in wet areas. So, how do we control the grass in a grass? Well, we've got some products, I think, that are going to help us out to do that. The other problem we have out in this pasture, as you can see, I'm standing right in the middle of it here, is Bahia grass coming in. This is a Stargrass. We're trying to improve, get some better gains on these cattle by running them on Stargrass. But generally what we're going to be doing, running them off Bahia, running them on to Stargrass, or doing something like that, and letting this stuff have a little time to grow up in between. Well, when we run cattle from Bahia on to Stargrass, chances are they're going to be bringing that Bahia seed with them if you're doing it after the 4th of July. So we're going to be bringing in seed. It's going to start getting established. And chances are, Bahia grass was here before you put Stargrass here, and it's almost impossible to get that stuff completely killed out before you reestablish. So chances are you're going to have it. All right, well, what do we do? How do you take a grass out of a grass? Well, we did a couple of different things out here. We're looking at 3 different sets of treatments. We're looking at a product called Impose. We're looking at glyphosate or Roundup, which is down on that end. And we're looking at a product called Journey, which is a combination of Impose and glyphosate. And if you notice I said glyphosate's down on that end and I'm not standing down on that end, it didn't look real good. So we're not going to talk about it much. So we're going to stay up on this side where I think we've got a little bit more promise out of the Impose and the Journey treatments. Now glyphosate definitely has its fit and it can be used, but I think in this situation we're much better off to be going with Journey and Impose. Now, what is Impose going to bring for us? Well, it's going to bring outstanding invasive grass control. It's unbelievably good. It's going to bring sandbur control. It's going to get us crabgrass, all of the sedges. It's going to get those. And boy, you start hearing that list and you go, man, why haven't we been using this stuff before? Well, again, killing a grass in a grass. And essentially, you know, when you give somebody treatment for cancer, you give them something that's extremely toxic and you try to give them just enough to kill the cancer but not to kill the person. Well, that's about what we end up with when we use Impose, because Impose is active on a lot of grasses, Stargrass included. So you try to give it just enough to take out the bad ones and keep the good one. Now, Impose will stunt your grass. So if you're spraying it in here in Stargrass, you are going to get stunting. Usually, you're probably going to be looking at 3 weeks of stunt, and then it'll come out of it. But you need to make sure you do it in a good time of the year when you're getting good rainfall and you've got some fertility, because if you do it in April when it's real dry and stuff isn't growing very well anyway, it's going to make it just that much worse. The stunt's going to be worse. So hold off on your Impose or Journey treatments until you have better growing conditions. But out here, what we've tried to do is to get around some of that issue with the stunting is they mowed some of these plots off and then sprayed so you don't have as much leaf material. And then we just did another set where we just sprayed over the top, okay? Well, look over these fields. Can you see where the mowing streaks are? I can't see them. So, what does that tell us? Well, it kind of tells me that whether you mow or not, the Stargrass is going to recover and do real well. Now, how much invasive grass do we see out here? I don't see hardly any. And that down there, you see, it's nothing but a solid stand of it. They were about to write this area off because it was so bad invasive. You see that big patch of it. There's hardly anything left. So, by using Impose or Journey, we're able to bring this back into a pretty productive state. Now, what about this right here? This was Bahia grass. Now, taking Bahia grass out, we got products that'll do that. We've got Cimarron, we've had, or used to be called Ally. We've had that for years. The problem with that one is it'll only kill Pensacola. It won't kill Argentina or the other. So if you have anything other than Pensacola, you're kind of left out, okay? Impose and Journey at higher rates are good on all of them. Now, will we kill these things? I don't know. These are pretty sad looking. They look pretty bad. Now, we jammed them up pretty good. Don't know if we'll actually kill them or not. But the idea is, generally, at the rates we're using, 6 to 12 ounces of Impose, that should give us 6 to 12 weeks of zero growth out of this Bahia, if nothing else. Even if it comes back, we should get, you know, about 2 to 3 months of complete growth suppression. And hopefully, we're only going to get about 2 to 3 weeks of growth suppression out of the Stargrass. And you know how aggressive Stargrass is. So the idea is really jam this Bahia and let the Stargrass kind of run in on top of it and fill it in. That's what we're trying to do. Now, how much is it going to cost? Impose is going to be about $2 an ounce. And I think what we're going to be looking at, if you're talking about Vasigrass, crabgrass, sandbur, nutsedge, we're talking 4 ounces, 5 ounces per acre. So that's $8 to $10 an acre, and that's not bad. If you really want to start getting up to the point where you're knocking back this, if you've got a big Bahia grass problem, well, then you might want to start talking about creeping that rate on up to around 12 ounces. So now we're in the $20 to $25 range. Journey is about $1 an ounce, and we're looking at out here 16 to 32 ounces. So again, 15 to 32 is a bit more than I think we need, but so we're still looking in the 15 to 20 something dollar range with it. So even though that's quite a bit, we can take an area that looked like that down there to this over here. So expect some stunting on your Bermuda or on your Stargrass, but expect even more stunting on your Bahia. So it'll really knock out the Bahia if you use the higher rates. But all of these other grasses will be pretty well taken out. So I think that's going to work for us.